It's April 1st. Welcome to yes2hellwith.com. If you are new to this platform, there are a number of free reports for you on a number of topics relating to taxes, jurisdiction, a letter to President Trump, and more. You need only register for free on yes2hellwith.com, and they will be sent to you. On another note, I received a message from a follower named Tomas in Namibia. He was excited to share that he had a case dismissed by using the Liberty Dialogues. Just imagine that. He is an inspiration, and we should learn from his example. I will be interviewing Tomas very soon. Now, for your consideration, April Fool's Day. Who are the fools? Are you? We have the opportunity to identify the fools, the real fools. For years, Congress presumed that we, the American people, were the fools. They presumed that we would comply with every statute, every regulation, and every demand simply because they issued them. They presumed that issuance alone created obligation. But here is the truth. When members of the United States Congress enter office, they know just as little as the American people. They do not arrive with a sound civics education, for this is not taught in our schools generally. They do not arrive with clarity of jurisdiction or a defined understanding of authority. And while in office, they learn the system, which they eventually serve. Not the Constitution, not the people, the system. In doing so, they become functionaries, processing information, repeating language, and issuing responses they do not fully understand. They are buffoons, all of them, beholden to the very system they operate, fools, one and all. And so, when some of us send letters, questions, and doubts, these fools send our inquiries through a machine that categorizes, filters, redirects, and insulates them from accountability. What comes back is not an answer, but a template, a boilerplate response carefully designed to acknowledge us without ever answering us. I saw it firsthand. My Congressman Frank Wolf did exactly that. I asked a question. He did not give me a legislative determination. No, it was procedural. He sent my letter to the Internal Revenue Service, which then gave him a canned answer that was completely unresponsive. Frank Wolf passed the question to the very agency whose conduct and presumptions I was challenging. He played me for the fool. And that is when it became clear. Frank Wolf was the fool. He never intended to answer my question. He sought to dismiss me without holding himself accountable as a lawmaker. Senators Mark Warner, Jim Webb, John Warner, and George Allen did the same thing. Fools, each of them. So here is the lesson. I had a good faith belief, and those fools used the system to avoid giving me legislative answers. But with solid good faith beliefs, I want you to know that everything changes. You are no longer guessing. You are defining the terms, identifying the authority, establishing the jurisdiction, and stating your position in good faith and on the record, documented. More importantly, you craft your questions to Congress in such a way that they cannot pass the buck, and they cannot evade the issue by referring it to an administrative agency. Congress is the legislative branch. If a member of Congress receives a question regarding the meaning, intent, scope, or application of a law passed by Congress, then that member has a duty to answer legislatively. They have a moral responsibility. To send the question to the IRS, the Department of Justice, or some other agency is not an answer. It is evasion. That is precisely why the Statement of Understanding.com program with the good faith belief component exists. It creates a structured record. It identifies the exact issue, the exact definition, the exact authority, and the exact questions. It expressly requires a legislative response and places Congress on notice that referral to an agency is not responsive. If they still pass the letter to an agency, then the record is clear. The problem is no longer that the citizen failed to ask the question. The problem is that Congress failed to answer it. It shows a lack of accountability to the office they hold. It shows that they are unwilling to discharge their legislative duty in solemn moral obligation to the people they represent. Now the burden shifts. They must answer, or their silence and evasion will stand on the record. So who are the fools on April 1st? Who were the fools on April 15th? Not the American who asks questions, but those who entered office knowing no more than the people and chose not to learn the truth, only to serve the system that hides it. Visit statementofunderstanding.com and learn how to require Congress to answer legislatively just as they should. To avoid being foolish, visit statementofunderstanding.com and document your good faith beliefs. And as always, make truth reign supreme.